Is this truly the make or break update for Lost Ark? We're obviously gonna react to it. Like, I've already noticed a few botting problems in this game. It's actually insane.
It's officially been 1 month since Lost Ark was released in the West, and with that came both ups and downs for the game. Hey there friends, it's Kodiak here. Welcome back to Legacy Gaming. Today, we're checking out the collaborative update between Smilegate and Amazon intended to target the numerous pain points currently being experienced in Lost Ark.
Like, they know they should treat the Western audience a bit differently because we have different needs. It's just
Let's not beat around the bush with this one. While I may not be in the tier 3 crowd just yet, a whole host of players are, including Livid right now, and many here in the Legacy Gaming guilds. Across the board, there have been frustrations with the entire honing experience, be it the severe lack of sources for progression materials, pay-to-win elements allowing...
Yeah, you can get to those resources, but you need to play this game for like 12 hours a day. It's insane. Like, who has time like that?
To dominate the market, and even botting issues making it even more difficult for the everyday player to purchase materials they need.
Yeah, I've seen like 15 bots at one stack, man. It was...
The team over at Amazon has acknowledged all of these things as issues and are sitting down with Smilegate RPG over the next week to take a critical look at these problems, their roadmap for Western audiences, and how things can be adjusted in the short and long term. That's a good thing in our opinion, but as we always say, actions speak much louder than words, and we want to see these things happen before we praise good development insight. So let's pull back the curtain just a bit and take a deeper look at what their team is acknowledging as an issue and what fixes they're looking to make. From the start, the goal of Lost Ark has always been for players to progress at whatever pace they see fit while making the experience along the way fun. Tier 1 and Tier 2 content was always designed as a sort of mid...
Like, they should know how to treat the Western audience, or your game or your MMO especially would die really quick.
Game prologue for the wealth of endgame Tier 3 content that Smilegate has been developing since the original launch of the game years ago. The Western release was always intended to be an accelerated version of the game, so as to catch up with the other regions, and launching the game with content 1370 and above was partially due to player feedback in the closed alpha and beta tests. Now, was that the right move? We're still not entirely sure on that one, but based on the severe lack of players reported to even be in T3 yet, let alone have alts created, that's leaning more towards probably not.
Yeah, I just have one alt and it's not even level up to 50.
One of the biggest complaints has actually been the release of Argos, as the severe lack of players in T3, as we just mentioned, has exacerbated the feeling of the game being pay to win, which at this point it 100% is, with whales dominating the in-game
economy. If you
economy.
Release such a big raid, most of the people who are in the end game should be able to play that one, and it's really frustrating to get to that point. I've seen a lot of videos where people are just
weeks, even like months before average players can even dip their toes into that content. Even Livid is experiencing this problem firsthand, despite having almost 30,000 gold and actively trying to play the market. Gearing his character with items that cost 10,000 gold just to bid on makes it nearly impossible. The team claims they never wanted players to feel rushed in their quest to hit item level 1370, and they thought having Argos available near launch would be a good thing, considering how Abyss raids are an important stepping stone to help bridge the gap to content even further out, like Legion raids. This, however, doesn't appear to be the case, and they've openly acknowledged they've made a mistake releasing the March update far too quickly after launch.
It shouldn't be the raid update, it should have been something like just an adjustment update for the gear honing and shit like that. But the people can be prepared for the Argos raid.
Data predictions projected a much larger portion of the player base having reached that level requirement to challenge Argos by now. But having come to find out, key variables were overlooked that directly influenced that data. Being a brand new audience here in the West, the time being actually spent on horizontal progression like islands, collectibles, and more is vastly outweighing the number of players pushing vertical progression. Bots and real money transactions are also causing...
Yeah, like this shit, I've seen this so often. This is so stupid. This is why we know everyone plays with Berserk. Like 90% of them are actually bots.
The price of honing materials to skyrocket, further locking out players even in T3 from progressing in a reasonable fashion. There's also just a sheer scarcity of Tier 3 honing materials. A lot of you may not be aware just how many sources of additional weekly honing materials other versions of the game have, to the point where probably 60% is still missing from our version of the game,
Yes.
further compounding the issue.
That's true.
Because of all of that, Smilegate and Amazon want to take the necessary steps to gather comprehensive data directly related to the Western release.
Like PvP, for example. Where is the PvP vendor where we can trade our leap zones in or something like that?
Will help them make more
That's stupid.
accurate decisions based on play patterns in order to better inform their future content roadmap. As a temporary band-aid to the issue, they want to shift some of the focus to helping players progress rather than focus on new endgame content. The goal? Provide fun content for players, even if it's at a higher level, while never making players feel pressured that they need to pay to progress.
Yeah,
Maybe
true.
it's a bit too late considering the issue, but it's good that they acknowledge it. They also
least they
admit they
tried
need
to
to
do
be
something
and
about
remain
it.
more flexible to the Western audience. An example being reducing the pay-to-win elements in our version of the game and making it more possible to earn a majority of the content within the game.
The
This is
master
something we
was
talked
so
about
quickly,
ahead of launch, but
that's-
things didn't quite
insane.
pan out the way we had hoped, and a number of issues have caused the economy to spiral out of control. They still want to push for getting Legion raids, the definitive Lost Ark raiding experience, in sooner rather than later, but they also want to take into account that players need to feel confident in their ability to reach and tackle these complicated challenges. With just
Yeah.
a small fraction of the community barely reaching Argos, mainly those that paid their way to the top, something is off, and the team admits that. In the meantime, a big shift to horizontal content will take place, meaning new locations like South Vern being released, new islands, and bringing
Nice.
in more of the new classes other regions have access to. This is good, and honestly, this should have been the focus from the start.
Yeah, I
Nothing
wanted
feels
the
worse
spear
than
class
wanting to play a
and
class that has
the
no
artist
tangible
one.
release date,
Yeah,
all the while
that's messed
investing in a class that you aren't exactly excited about
And
playing.
painter, artist,
As
I
a
don't
result,
know.
a comprehensive
Yeah,
look at their
artist.
content roadmap for April and
Like,
May
look at
will
these
be unveiled in
animations,
the
man.
near future once their week of in-studio collaboration has concluded. They want to make sure that
Like
as they release
if you want to choose a class, or just look at the animations and try to play them. You need a good feeling. The damage is completely irrelevant. If the character doesn't feel great, it's not worth it, because you will see that one character, even though it does a bit more damage, you will see the same animation over and over again. And if it's not clean for you, it's not a class that
new
you want.
content, new classes that complement the content will also
off
release
tangent, but
alongside
yeah,
it. And we're all
it's
for
important,
that.
man.
Now, up until this point, we've talked a lot about honing. So let's dive into that quickly and talk about the economy of the game. Amazon has acknowledged there is major player concern around honing and the
Yes.
frustrations with failing
Oh my
and constantly
God, man.
being without
I
materials to
instantly
try
skip it,
again
like,
most of the
I'm
time.
not even,
While we're well aware
even
a
thinking
huge
about
portion
it.
of this is due to the lack of most endgame material sources, they've pointed to more immediate reasons such as the botting issue that have inflated the economy and a distinct lack of alt characters being created to help feed main characters. Now, the botting issue has been actively pursued and has been since launch, but more and more keeps bringing up. One solution has been the removal of early game gold sources, which has resulted in a steep decline of bot activity. Both Livid and I have personally seen these bots begin to pop up in more endgame locations, so that's an issue that's still not fully under
Yeah, this
control,
is so
but they are
stupid, man.
working on it. As for the honing material issue, they will supply much more progression material for players to earn through fun in-game events and injecting more gold into the mid and endgame content. Next week's update will also provide additional Grand Prix honing rewards, such as the addition of tailoring and metallurgy books to assist with honing attempts, as well as increasing the number of event coins earned. They'll also be detailing a new Guardian Raid focused event in the next week's update, where the scale of balance will be applied to change all the character stats to match a Guardian's level, adjusting the difficulty
That seems nice. That seems nice.
to match the number of raid participants. You'll be able to participate once per day per roster in an attempt to earn new event-specific coins to spend on even more honing rewards from a brand new vendor. Season 1 of competitive PvP will also release in next week's update,
Yes!
providing a new source
Finally.
of weekly honing materials as well as other rewards. A heads up to anyone that didn't know, you can start playing matches
Like,
now
I
to
love
earn the
PvP, but if there's no reason behind playing PvP, no one will play PvP.
PvP respective
It is
tokens,
what it
while
is.
also ranking yourself up to tier 1, a requirement to enter competitive matches. Finally, let's talk about free gifts. We all love free stuff, right? Players in Korea recently received in-game items to commemorate the launch in the West, and it looks like the Western players will also be receiving these items.
Nice.
This includes a new animal skin selection chest, a Mokokonon pet selection chest,
Really?
Makoko board mount selection
Okay, the
chest,
pets look
Lost
kinda
Ark
cute, I
United
like them.
structure, an appearance change ticket, 132 Fions, 5 Menelix tomes, 2 legendary card selection chests, and jukebox songs that will be provided when jukebox content is released sometime in the future. One important thing to be aware of so you don't make the mistake when receiving these rewards, do not use those legendary card selection chests until you know what legendary cards you need down the road. As you get into the endgame content yet to be released, certain card sets are a must-have, and a lot of those are locked behind specific legendary cards.
Like I thought they were just a small bonus.
Until you know exactly what you need so you're not at the mercy of months of bad RNG. Look, it's no secret the Amazon and Smilegate teams are digging themselves out of a hole they created here in the West. The game is still wildly popular, with hundreds of thousands of players playing every single day, but changes have to be made if they want to keep the player base engaged. We've seen popular streamers and content creators call out some of the flaws and balancing issues, but I will say the communication is a nice change of pace. Most AAA developers take weeks, if not months, to address these concerns, and at this point we know things are on the radar. It doesn't excuse issues like the clocks being broken for multiple days due to daylight savings time, but with bigger issues on the table, just knowing that these issues are being taken seriously is a small comfort. That being said, and as we've said before, actions speak louder than words, and the clock is ticking for both teams to take the necessary steps to keep Lost Ark relevant here in the West. As always, friends, we've been having a great time making Lost Ark content for you, so if you would do me a solid and hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing, we'll continue to bring you new Lost Ark content on a regular basis. If you are on US East Regulus and you want to be part of the largest Lost Ark guild in North America, you can join one of our 30 legacy gaming guilds. Check out the Discord link below.
Yeah, that was it. That was a make or break update. I don't really think it's a make or break update. It changes some things, but it's not that major. Kind of clickbaity, I know, but I'm going to use the same title because it is the video title, obviously. And yeah, thank you for watching. I would really appreciate a like and sub for more reaction content to Lost Ark, Elden Ring, stuff like that. I also do a bit of Genshin, but only on the side way. And yeah, I see you next time. Wafer out.